the seven-time NASCAR Cup champion known as the Fearless Intimidator passed away at the age of 49 after his famous Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet Monte Carlo crashed at Turn 4 on the last lap of the Daytona 500. His own team's cars, driven by good friend Michael Waltrip and his son Dale Earnhardt Jr., finished 1 and 2 on a day that should have been filled with immense joy. He was playing rear gunner to his Dale Earnhardt Incorporated team cars as they raced around the final lap of the race, blocking any late runs from the chasing pack. As the cars tore through turns 3 and 4 on that fateful final lap, Earnhardt maintained the strong-arm tactics that had become the trademark of his persona. As he threw his final block, Earnhardt's left rear corner tagged Sterling Marlin's right front fender, getting his car loose. Earnhardt battled for control, his car clipping the apron, which unsettled it still further, and so it began to spin clockwise, moving up the track and across the bows of the closely following Rusty Wallace and Ken Schrader. His right rear corner was struck by Schrader's left front, which made prominent the angle of Earnhardt's car before it nosed hard into the unprotected concrete. At first, it appeared to be just a regular NASCAR crash. At the time, the impact at this angle was devastating for the occupant. As his and Schrader's car spun down the track in unison, Earnhardt's right rear wheel parted company. This was the first indicator of the violence that had shaken through the vehicle. Schrader, whose car hit the wall adjacent to Earnhardt's at much the same speed but at a far shallower angle, was completely unhurt. Medical crews were on the scene moments later, but despite their best efforts, there was little to be done but transferring Earnhardt to the ambulance and directly to the nearby Halifax Medical Center, where he was later pronounced dead. Earnhardt passed away as a result of a basilar skull ring fracture. 8 months prior to his accident, 3 other drivers had suffered the same injury and lost their lives. These 3 were Adam Petty, Kenny Irwin, and Tony Rohr. Johns Hopkins Medicine describes this injury as the most serious type of skull fracture and involves a break in the bone at the base of the skull. It often leads to major bleeding in that area. Other racing drivers to be killed by a similar injury were Roland Ratzenberger, Blaine Johnson, Blawan Alexander, and Gonzalo Rodriguez. In NASCAR's crash report published in August 2001, they stated that Dale Earnhardt's death was most likely caused by a blow to the back of the head, not from one single cause, but from a combination of unusual factors. These included the uncommon severity and trajectory of the car's impact with the wall, an immediately prior collision with Schrader's car that put him out of position, and a separation of the left lap belt under load that allowed greater motion within the car. Earnhardt's left side lap belt had separated in the impact, allowing his body to twist forward and to the right inside the car. His autopsy revealed the underside of his chin had impacted the steering wheel and that he had suffered a second blow to the back of his head as he rebounded from the impact back into his seat, which displayed scuff marks on the head surround area. Earnhardt's open-faced helmet had rotated forward when he hit the wall, exposing the back of his skull. He shunned any head and neck safety restraint. Unlike some of the drivers in the field that day, his death sent shockwaves to lovers of the sport all around the world. Their beloved Earnhardt was gone forever. As a driver, few could compete with him behind the wheel. However, how did he achieve his legendary status behind the wheel? The brightest dawn, Ralph Dale Earnhardt, was born on April 29, 1951 in Kannapolis, North Carolina. His father, Ralph Earnhardt, was a successful race car driver and renowned mechanic. From a young age, Dale had cultivated a love for automobiles. His mother, Martha Earnhardt, also worked as a waitress and clerk at a children's store. Born into a family of 5, his siblings included Kay and Kathy, Randy, and Danny. In the 9th grade, he made the decision to drop out of school, and he went through several jobs while attempting to get his own stock car racing career off the ground. Despite his father not wanting him to follow in his footsteps as a race driver, he eventually had no choice but to support his son. But unfortunately, Ralph never saw his son race at the pinnacle of the sport and died of a heart attack in 1973 at the age of 45. 2 years later, in May 1975, Dale made his debut and finished 22nd in the World 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, kicking off an illustrious career behind the wheel. He eventually caught the attention of Rod Osterland, a racing sponsor based in California, and the driver was signed to his first full-time Winston Cup contract for the 1979 season. That year, he racked up his first win on the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, NASCAR circuit at the Southeastern 500 in Bristol, Tennessee. By the end of the racing season, he had become the first driver to win over $200,000 in his rookie year. He was rewarded with NASCAR's prestigious Rookie of the Year honors. The next year proved to be even better for Earnhardt as he won his first NASCAR Season Points Championship or Winston Cup Championship, barely edging out the veteran driver Cale Yarborough to do so. With the win, he became the first driver to win Rookie of the Year and the Points Championship in back-to-back seasons. Not long after, Osterland sold his team to J.D. Stacy in 1981. Earnhardt signed on to race for driver-turned-owner Richard Childress. He spent the next 2 years with Bud Moore's team, but he reunited with Childress after the 1983 season, and his career took off.